If you're alone, this story may shake your heart deeply. Turn off the lights, take a deep breath, because terror is about to knock at your door.
Amityville Horror, the house that whispers it, was a quiet evening in Amityville, New York. The autumn wind whispered through the trees, and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the neighborhood. To the unknowing eye, 112 Ocean Avenue appeared to be a normal house nestled among its peaceful neighbors, but beneath its red brick facade lay a darkness that had waited decades. Patient and hungry, the Lutz family moved in with hope and excitement. George Lutz, a man proud of his new home, believed he had found the perfect place for his family. His wife, Kathy, was enchanted by the wide windows and the spacious rooms. And their children, Dawn, 13, and the twins, Matt and Missy, marveled at the backyard, imagining summers filled with laughter. The first night was ordinary, yet subtle signs whispered that all was not well. A chill passed through the hallways that had no drafts. Shadows seemed to linger longer than they should, and from the attic a faint sound, almost a whisper, rustled through the vents. Kathy felt uneasy, attributing it to her imagination, yet the air seemed heavier than usual. By the second night, George awoke suddenly, drenched in sweat. A strange pressure pressed on his chest, and he heard low, guttural moaning, like someone whispering just beyond comprehension. The awakening of the house's days passed. The paranormal activity escalated. Doors slammed shut on their own accord. Spots appeared without warning, freezing parts of rooms even in the warmth of late autumn. George would feel invisible hands grip his shoulders, only to turn and find himself alone. Kathy awoke to find her bedroom, mirror smeared with words that vanished when she blinked. Objects moved without explanation. Knives from the kitchen flew across counters. A chair tipped over in the dining room as though shoved by an invisible force. And the twins' toys rearranged themselves in sinister formations. The children began to speak of shadowy figures in the corners of rooms, figures that vanished whenever their parents approached. Sometimes, they said, these shadows whispered threats, their voices hollow and chilling. George tried to maintain a sense of normalcy. It's just stress, he told himself. The kids are imagining things. Kathy is tired. But as nights passed, even his own skepticism began to crumble. The house was alive. It watched. It waited to the voice in the walls. One night, George awoke to hear a voice deep, malevolent, impossible to ignore. Get out. It reverberated through the walls, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. His heart pounded, yet the voice was not a figment of imagination. The furniture shook, and the floorboards groaned under invisible weight. Kathy experienced similar terror. She awoke to find her closet door open, an unseen presence pressing against her chest. The whispers grew louder, muttering her name, calling her to the darkness. Panic surged through her veins. Soon, both children refused to sleep alone. Dawn spoke of a figure sitting at the foot of her bed, watching. Matt and Missy claimed the shadows in the hallway would reach for them, their cold fingers brushing their skin. The house was no longer a home. It was a predator, and the Lutz family, its prey. The history that haunts the darkness in the house had roots deeper than the Lutz family could imagine. Years before, Ronald DeFeo Jr. had brutally murdered his own family within these walls. Whispers said that the house had absorbed their fear, anger, and death, feeding on their souls. Every corner, every floorboard carried the echoes of horror. Local neighbors reported strange phenomena even before the Lutzes moved in. Doors that slammed by themselves, cries heard in the night, and lights that flickered for no reason. The house had a history, a legacy of evil that no ordinary family could escape. The physical manifestations, the Lutz family began noticing physical attacks. George awoke to find scratches across his body, deep enough to draw blood, yet no one else was in the room. Kathy felt her hair being pulled as she slept, and the twins reported being pinched or slapped by invisible hands. One terrifying night, George saw a figure emerge from the shadows, a tall, dark shape with glowing red eyes, radiating hatred. It did not speak, but the sense of malevolence was palpable. George ran from the room, and when he returned, the figure had vanished, leaving only a lingering chill.
What waits behind the door? You'll discover in the next video.